Okay, so today I want to show you why your video messages are blurry when they come through. We're gonna play a video explanation. We're gonna play that first video, then we're gonna play a second video. They broke the video out into two parts. So let me get that ready for you so we can start.
All right, so listen, right? I'm gonna show you.
So let's go full screen. And let's start.
All right, so listen, right? I'm gonna show you why your messages are blurry when you send them, why your video messages are blurry. And to get started, a little background. This came up because I teach and I host a digital marketing mastermind. And I was teaching that class and someone said that phones, the reason why the messages don't come through is because it's Android and Apple. Whatever that debate is that people like to do is incorrect. So I'm gonna show you exactly what it is, right? Not exactly, but in simple terms so you can understand why the messages are blurry and what the issue is. So here's how this works, right? I drew this up. I did a whole video, but I messed up. I boomed out. I call it booming out. This is how this works. Person over here is trying to send a person to this, a video message to this person over here. And the way a lot of us think it works is we think that person here, so let's call him Gary. Gary. And let's call her Mary. We think that these are their phones. So Gary's trying to send a video message over to Mary, and he thinks that when he sends a message, it goes right over to her phone, right? That's normally how we think that phones work. We think it goes from A to B, right? But it doesn't go, it's not that simple. The way phones really work is Gary, right, he's trying to send a message, and up here, right above Gary and Mary, what you see is a cloud. This is how devices work. Just about anything that you send, this is normally how they work, with the exception of like YouTube and some other stuff. This is how they work, right? There's a cloud up here, and a lot of people are like, the cloud seems mysterious. But the way the cloud works is, all it is there are a bunch of servers up somewhere out in the world. That's where the cloud the cloud designation came from. It's servers out there, and we don't know where they're at. They're up in the sky somewhere is where we believe. And a lot of times it's actually just on the ground. But this is the cloud. So servers are computers that serve. Simply put, they just serve, they do stuff, they process, they share information. The way this works is you have a cloud up here, right? So Gary's phone, right? Gary's trying to send a video message. So what Gary is going to do is Gary's going to send a message to Mary. And when he sends it, it has to go up here in the cloud. So this is how phones really work. Gary's message goes up here, and then it will come down here to Mary. And that's how you get your messages. The servers handle your messaging. It's not from Gary to Mary, straight up like that. And this is why you hear people say like all information is tracked, because everything goes up here. The servers has rights to it. It makes copies of everything. It makes copies. So it's not here to here or here to here. It's A to B, B to C. So it's like a 3-point process, right? What matters here and why your videos are being blurred is it all takes place up here. It all takes place up here in the cloud, right? So let's make you some space. It all takes place in that cloud, and I love technology. That's why I'm explaining this stuff to you in simple terms. Everything takes place in this cloud, and this is where all of the magic happens, the technicality. So, right? So Gary has let's give him let's give Gary an iPhone. And let's give Mary give him an iPhone iOS, right? So iOS is the software that iPhone is on. Let's give Mary what's the most popular on Android? Let's give Mary a Samsung, and she's on Android. Now, the reason why the messages are blurry when they come through is because of what happens here, right? Remember that. Whatever happens here is why the messages are blurring. So, up here, this is the cloud. This is where a bunch of servers and a bunch of communication is stored. So, over here, let's start with Gary. Gary has an iPhone and he has iOS. Guess what? They have servers. And they have servers that will process data and process information, right? So Gary is going to send Mary a message, and he's going to send it up here, and it's going to touch on, let's make iPhone a server. So iPhone/Apple, this is their server. That's their server, right? So Gary's going to send a message. He's going to send his message, and it's going to go up here. It's going to go up there. So, but once it gets up here, this is where the processing happens. Once Gary sends his stuff up here, this server does something with it. So let's create some more servers. So we got Apple/iPhone. Then we got, let's put Gary on T-Mobile. Gary's on T-Mobile. And Mary is on Sprint. Right? So, over here, iPhone has a server, T-Mobile has a server, Samsung has a server, Sprint has a server. They all have servers. So up here, I'm gonna add T-Mobile server. And then I'm gonna add Samsung's server. Samsung. Then I'm gonna add Android server. Android. So they all have servers. And depending on your phone plan, like all of these phone plans are different in a way. Depending on your phone plan, your server will do something different, right? So, for example, over here, you have Gary. Gary is going to send this, and it's going to go to the Apple servers, right? So, Gary's plan and his device says whenever you get a message, a video message, right? Whenever you get a video message that comes to the iPhone servers, I want you to do something. What is it? It depends. It depends on the server's programming up here. So remember, servers just serve. They give information. They just do stuff. All they're doing is serving. So this is me as a server serving. Servers serve. So Gary is sending this video message. Let's just say Gary's video message he wants to send is 100 MBs, right? 100 MBs, megabits. Gary wants to send a 100 megabit video over to Mary. So over here, Gary sends it. It's 100 megabits, and depending on which server, like these servers do different things. So an example is up here, these different servers. So let's go. This server imposes, so these servers will impose limitations on your devices sometimes. So up here, Gary, like each of these servers has a different limitation. So up here, iPhone, they might do 125 MB. T-Mobile might do 50 MB. Samsung might do 75 MB. This is all hypothetical. I don't know exactly what they are. And Android might do, let's do 100 MB. So when Gary sends, Gary's going to send a device, and depending on what server it goes to, you don't know unless you know specifically about your phone. So you might have an iPhone, and your server might say, anytime you have an iPhone and you're trying to reach another iPhone, stay on our servers. That's an example program. That's an example instruction that your phone and your carriers will execute, right? So Gary is trying to, so the phone is saying, Gary, send a file to Mary. If she has an iPhone, keep it at 125 megapixels, right? But in this instance, Gary is sending a message to Mary, but she doesn't have an iPhone. So now Gary's phone and Gary's server needs to do something else. So Gary's phone is saying, and his devices over here is saying, whenever there is not an iPhone, use the carrier's servers. So the carrier is T-Mobile, is a carrier. You can put Sprint over here. So let's add Sprint, since Mary is on Sprint. Sprint. That's Sprint. All right, it's Sprint. Just understand that that's Sprint. So Gary's phone is saying, whenever you get a file, whenever you get a request, a command, instructions, and you're trying to reach somebody that's on the same server as you're trying to reach somebody that's on Android too, what I want you to do is, I want you to keep the file size, because we can handle it. Over here on our wonderful servers, we can handle 125 megapixels. We don't need to cut it down or anything like that. So whenever you get 125, just send that device straight up. And that means Gary's file, well, whenever you get 100, Gary's file maintains its fidelity. That means the server don't have to cut down the file to try to send it through one of these pipes or these funnels. So imagine these as pipes. How do you get 100 megabytes into a 50 megabits pipe? How do you do that? Well, in order to get 100 megabytes, you got to take 50 megabytes out. And that's what the issue is coming in. The issue is when Gary's device is trying to squeeze down a file and send it somewhere else. So it depends on the server. This is the issue up here. These servers are the issue on why files do not come through all the way. It's the servers. It's not the device itself. It's the servers. It's the carrier servers as well as the iOS servers. Not iOS, the operating system servers. So let's go back to Gary. Let's simplify this. Gary is trying to send a 100 MB video file to Mary. When Gary tried to send a file, it's not, he's trying to reach Mary. Hey, send this 100-bit file to Mary. If she's on iPhone, keep it at 100. This is what this server is saying. If she's not on iPhone, next thing I want you to do, I want you to check if she is on T-Mobile. If she's on T-Mobile, what I want you to do is I want you to take that 100 megabits, that 100 MB file. I want you to take that file all the way down to 50 MB, and then I want you to send it to Mary. So that's one scenario. That's just an example scenario. Gary again. Hey, Gary, you got a 100 MB file? I want you to check if it is on, I want you to check if she is on iPhone. If she's not on iPhone, check T-Mobile. If she's not on T-Mobile, check Samsung. And if she is on Samsung, what you can do is you can take it down to 75 MB, and then you can send it that way. So Gary's going to send that thing. He's going to send this 100 MB up. And then this 100 MB, this Samsung server, that's the Samsung server, is going to take it down to 75 MB. That's where it's becoming blurry, because when the server has to send that file, it's taking information from the file. It's taking information from the file and it's discarding that information. It's discarding that information so it can send the file through its funnel. Imagine this as a pipe. So it's 100 MB needs to go down to 75 MB. Well, what do you do with that information? You take 25 away, and by taking 25 away, you take out pieces of the information. You take out pieces of the information, and then now that it's at 75 MB, it's going to come through and it's going to go to Mary, and Mary is going to receive that. Originally, the 100 MB is going to come out as 75 MB. And the reason why, this is why your devices are blurry, because the servers are taking information from your phone. It's taking information out so it can successfully send the file. Okay? That's why video messages are blurry. Now, there's an argument on, oh, well, I'm on iPhone, so it doesn't happen over here. It doesn't happen on my device because I'm on iPhone and I got more money than other people. Well, this is why it doesn't happen on iPhone. And it's still because of servers. It's still because of servers, right? So you know what the cloud is. You know what that is. I want to erase that, right? So we still got Mary and Gary. And Mary and Gary, right? So this is the cloud. Remember what the cloud is. We know what a cloud is already, right? So here's why when you send it, when you're on the same whatever, you're both on iPhone, right? As an example, here's why. So you're both on iPhone, and this is the iPhone server. This is the iPhone server. When you send the device, right? When you send the file, whenever you send the file here, so you go up in the cloud, then you send it here, they're of the same server. So because they're of the same server, iPhone, the server up here, the server up here doesn't need to cut down on the file. So on iPhone devices, when you both have iMessage enabled, you can both send a file and the server not need to cut down on that file. Same thing is true to Android. Android has servers too. So if you're both on Android, you're both part of that same server, you can send files and it won't have to cut down on the file size. So this is why, like when you're on iPhones and you send a message to somebody else that has an iPhone and it maintains that fidelity, it maintains the fidelity because of the server. It doesn't have anything to do with the phones being more expensive or iPhone being better or Android being worse. It doesn't have anything to do with that. It has to do with the servers. This is why iPhone to iPhone can send messages to each other and they not kind of come out blurry because they're part of a server and they didn't have to go through that process of when the picture we had before and there were all of those different servers. It's more simple. They understand, hey, if somebody's on an iPhone, if we're on the same server, just send them the file. You don't need to cut it down because there's no limitations. This is our server and this is what we do. So I appreciate you watching, right? And do me a favor, give me a like. Tell me if you found this video helpful. I hope you did. I had fun doing it. But this is why, again, this is why the video messages are blurry. And I wanted to take care and address this for my students so they can be informed and understand why messages are coming through incorrectly. And this is why you got to get the right tools, the right resources in order to send files and send information, upload content, etc., etc. You got to have the right tools, and sending messages is great. However, there are limitations where you're trying to send messages. And when you're dealing with your clients, you have to understand that all of these clients are not going to be on iPhone or not going to be on Android. You're not all going to be on the same platforms. There are many technicalities and many complications within sending these files this way. That's why ideally I instruct people, look, you find one platform, you want to send them video, want to send video messages or something like that, you find the respective platform. Something like a BombBomb, something like using YouTube to send out links, something like Facebook to send messages on Messenger. Whatever it is, you find that platform and you send those videos that way because this gets really technical and really complicated. And everybody needs to be on the same ecosystem in order to see the same results, and that is improbable. Okay, so again, my name is Jerome Lewis. I specialize in digital marketing within the real estate industry. I appreciate you watching and I hope you found this video helpful. I'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye.